Hey Best Pally, I'm Allie, and I, every day, eat one giant meal at the end of the day and then immediately go to sleep. And if that goes counter to what you've learned about how to be lean and keep body fat off and stay fit, well, let me introduce you to my abs. Though I should give this disclaimer, my abs are not a medical doctor. For real, consult a physician. This is just me talking about what has worked for me over a lot of experimentation, and it might not work for you, or I might die tomorrow, I don't know. Hold for sound. Is this the ambulance coming for me right now? Okay, I'm just hoping that my story will help you figure it out for yourself. And I didn't just land on this giant meal idea. It took a long time. So it started back, I want to say 6 or 7 years ago. I was grazing, and that, to me, is conventional knowledge. I hear a lot of people saying that you need to eat a little bit, a lot throughout the day and keep your metabolism going, and you just constantly be having food coming into your body at least every 3 hours. So that had me waking up and eating a little bit, a very little bit, because I had to spread all my calories out throughout the day, and obsessing about getting food, and if I waited too long then I would be unhealthy, and those small meals were so unsatisfying, and it was a really long time that I was grazing and didn't know any other option. I didn't even think that there might be another option. I was hungry and tired and moody, like really moody. I even like my mom calling me, and it had nothing to do with how lovely my mother is. It's because it was not working for me at all. And I was skinny fat. Yeah, and I was following what I'd been told, and I guess I just wasn't grazing good enough because my body was not listening to me. And then I was lucky enough to come across the book Eat, Stop, Eat, which is about fasting, and my first introduction to it. And that was mind-blowing. What? You don't have to be constantly obsessing about food and always eating? Intermittent fasting means a lot of different things, but the Eat, Stop, Eat method is 24 hours, you go without eating maybe once, twice a week. And so I started doing that. I tried it. I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. And it didn't suck. It was nowhere near as hard as I thought. And it actually made me feel pretty good. And then I didn't have to worry about food the whole time. And in general, it was just freeing to know that I wasn't needing to find a meal. Scavenging. Grazing, scavenging, am I a cow or a squirrel? This is the first time I had my mind opened about being skeptical of conventional wisdom and to make a change when something wasn't working, and I was stoked about that. So I will say I wasn't looking forward to the 24-hour fast once a week. It was manageable, but it wasn't like dope. And so I started looking into other intermittent fasting styles. And I did find one where I was like, dope. I started fasting every day for 16 hours and having just an 8-hour eating window. And that, my body responded immediately. It was awesome. And the idea behind that is basically you just skip breakfast. Another mind-blowing thing. What? Breakfast isn't the most important meal of the day? I grew up actually hating having to have breakfast before going to school in the morning, but again, you can't miss breakfast. And so I would force it down, and then when I started doing 16-8 fasting, I would have coffee in the morning and feel dope until noon, 2 p.m. It was fine, and I felt way more focused. Again, not obsessing about food, I just sit down and get to work, and being in a fasted state also made me feel like I could work better. And a lot of people have talked about being more focused in a fast, and I definitely felt it, and so I stuck with the 16-8 for a long time. Another reason why I loved it is that I could eat a ton more in my 8-hour window. I could feel satisfied, I could have like a big meal, not just like tiny little bites throughout the day. And this is when I started the same breakfast. If you haven't seen my same breakfast video, that's a whole other giant subject. I eat the same thing every day, and it's an Instagram celebrity. But the idea of having 2 chicken breasts and all of those veggies and beans in one sitting was like mind-blowing to me again, and I loved it. And then my dinner was bigger too, and I will say that like this worked for me, but it might not work for you, because I know some people that have tried intermittent fasting and they're like, ooh yeah, counting down to that last hour in the 16 is tough. And I'm like, I never do that. And if you do, maybe it's not for your body. But also give it some time. If you're testing something out, like give it a good chunk of your effort. Like write down how long you think you can handle it, where your body will respond, and then add a little more time, and that's how long you should do it. But if it doesn't work, try something else. And send this video to me 7 years ago. And so from there, I then started working out during my fast. What? You don't have to fuel up for your workout? Again, Mind blown. This is just a video of my mind being blown. Yeah, this was news for me because again, conventional wisdom is eat your protein or a fatty egg or a banana, I don't know, and then you go to the gym. Then I started doing cardio fasted because it turns out you burn more when you're in a fasted state and you also still feel awesome. I mean, if you're me. You might not feel awesome. Again, try it for yourself, but I can say that you should at least give it a shot because it is not bad for you. It's actually good for you. I learned that generally our bodies use energy from glucose, but if you're depleted like in a fast, you start burning fat for fuel. Whoa, and that was cool because that's a part of how I felt focused. I think. This is called being in ketosis, when your body switches from glucose to fat as fuel, and that is even upped more, and you'll go further into ketosis if you do fasted cardio. So around then is when I was introduced to Bulletproof, with which I am obsessed to date, even though this was a while ago that I started. And the Bulletproof Diet is this whole big complex thing, and I read about it and I tried some stuff. The part of it that I really like is the Bulletproof coffee, where you put a ton of fat into your coffee. Ooh, which reminds me, back when I was grazing, I was also terrified of fat because I'm a woman in American culture and you should be scared of fat, right? I don't want to get fat. That's not how it works. Mind blown! Thank you, Dave Asprey, who is the guy that wrote Bulletproof. Okay, so when your body is fasting and going into ketosis and burning fat as fuel, if you give it only fat, which is butter or their bulletproof oil, which I adore, you stay in ketosis, and I consider myself still in a fast. Some people say that using bulletproof oil cancels your fast, but I don't agree with those people. And that's fine, they can feel the way that they do. And I mean, yes, technically the definition of a fast, but whatever. The point is that I want to stay burning fat as fuel, so I just give my body a ton of fat in the morning, and that felt really good. Fat with caffeine. And so I started pushing my fast even later. It was like 5 p.m. then when I started eating. And then this ketosis thing became a game because there are these pee strips that you can use to figure out how deep into ketosis you are, and I wanted to see if I could do it every day. And now if you're thinking that I'm on the keto diet, that is not the same thing. People on the keto diet, yes, are in ketosis, but I am talking about going into ketosis every day, but not staying in it and not going super deep. And the more that I go into ketosis and come back out and get my body into it again, it's called metabolic flexibility. Your body becomes better at starting to burn fat as fuel whenever you need it. Actually, Bulletproof Brain Octane oil helps me get into ketosis faster and stay flexible like that. It's MCT oil, which is medium chain triglycerides. It's basically made from coconuts. And it's got ketones in it already, and so like you're eating the ketones and then your body is signaled to go into ketosis faster. And so the bulletproof oil is in me and it's like, hey, what's up? You should start burning fat as fuel. And my body is like, yeah, you're right. Oh, I forgot to mention, it also makes you less hungry. If I've been fasting for a while and I have 14 grams of fat, my body's like, hey, I can go longer. That's a part of the reason why I started waiting even longer to eat, because I just wasn't hungry. That bulletproof oil is 14 grams of fat and it just satiates you. I felt more energy and more focused. Again, it's the same thing that I got from fasting. So I was drinking bulletproof coffee every morning for a long time, and then I started drinking it a little later and a little later, and then I realized I didn't need bulletproof coffee to get into ketosis, so I had reached this metabolic flexibility, and I'm still really proud of it. I like that I've trained my body to be responsive to the environment. It feels very primal. Because I think this goes back to how our bodies evolved, and it's been slowly. And so there were times when we just didn't have food, and we're really good at dealing with that. And so when you're low on fuel, it actually turns your brain on because you gotta go get some. And I do want to mention that even though I stopped being reliant on bulletproof oil, I still am very reliant on caffeine. Some people say that you can't have caffeine during your fast, and I think those people are crazy. But also, I'm crazy and I shouldn't say that. But no, I'm just thinking that I wouldn't be able to handle it, but now I'm thinking that I should stop coffee for a month for a video. No one mentioned that in the comments. I'm cutting this out. It's not like I'm crazy with caffeine. I have 100 milligrams a day about, and also, that makes me crazy with caffeine because most people don't know how many milligrams they have a day. But I do try and keep track because it is a stimulant and I like how it makes my body feel, and if I overload my body, I won't get that feeling anymore. So I have cut off coffee for like a week or so occasionally, just so I can get more responsive to it again, and coffee can feel just as good. And I do feel I should mention that I drink a ton of water all the time during the fast. Not during the fast, although I recently heard about water fasting, which, what? I need to read a whole lot more before I talk to you about that. Okay, so now we're at the point where I'm not needing a bulletproof coffee. I'll just have black coffee in the morning, right, no calories. And then I started lifting, so not cardio anymore, and I realized I probably should be eating after my workout. I would never eat after my workout, like during the grazing days, certainly not, because I wasn't hungry. But I think it's important, although I know this is basically nutrient timing, where I'm saying you need to eat at this time or it's not good for your body. And that's what I was trying to avoid earlier whenever I was obsessing about getting food into me. So I am a little skeptical still of this, but I will break my fast after a workout, which means I fast for a long time and then I work out and then eat immediately after. What I do love about this is that it is extra caveman-y. I haven't eaten in a long time. Oh no, I need to find food. And then I chase down a boar and then I eat that boar. And I do that every day. I fast and then I work out, which is finding the food, and then I feast. And again, that makes me feel great. And also when I'm eating, I know that it's good for me and I need to do it right now, as opposed to trying to eat less because maybe I'll save it for later because I should be grazing and eating as little as possible slowly. So it was a mindset switch that I need to fuel my body, and it's awesome because that boar tastes extra good when you earn it. And by boar, I mean same breakfast. So then about that time in my life, I changed gyms. This was like a year ago. And the reason that affected my diet is because traffic. A gym is not bikeable from me, so 5 o'clock when I end my fast, instead of driving to the gym at rush hour, I kept pushing it later and later, starting to work out at 7 p.m. and then breaking my fast at 9 p.m. And that felt even better. Now I was focused all day working and then work out and then have like one giant everything meal at the end. So basically from like 9 o'clock to 12, I'm in a 3-hour eating window. And how many people have told you don't eat right before you go to bed because you'll store fat? No, I'm not storing fat. I'm feeling dope and looking dope. I now eat 2,100 calories in one sitting, so that's same breakfast and same lunch and same dinner all at once, and it is satisfying and wonderful. But I do need to mention the drive home from the gym. So there is that amount of time where I'm not eating right after my fast, and again, getting a little worried about nutrient timing, I started drinking gainer shakes, which you may be familiar with protein shakes, but gainer shakes are a little less common. They're protein and then double the carbs on top of that. It's for people that really want to bulk up. I have a half of a one, so I'm not being like a giant meathead bodybuilder. I'm just half of a giant meathead bodybuilder. And that's because I'm currently experimenting with feeding my muscles with this goo that goes directly to them right after I break them down in a workout. Now, some of you that know about intermittent fasting or have looked into this before may see that my eating window of about 3 hours is similar to the warrior diet. They do 20 hours fast and then a 40-hour eating window. I haven't read the book about it yet, but I've heard that you're allowed to have low-calorie foods during the fast, which is not something I'm into because I want to stay in ketosis, and if I have just a little bit of carbs or whatever that's like a low density food like a tomato, that'll kick me out. And a big thing with a lot of intermittent fasting is that people say you don't have to count calories, although I still do. Like I said, I know after a workout I'm having 2,100. I actually count my macros so I know how much protein, fat, and carbs I want to have in a day. And talking about macros and me tracking my macronutrients is a whole other video, so if you want to hear about that, let me know in the comments. And I haven't completely thrown out all of the things I've experimented with in the past. Eat, stop, eat. I still, once in a while, will go 24 hours without eating. Maybe once a week if I'm working super late and I'm on a set or something, or if I'm traveling. It's really nice to just kind of get a reset. And often I'll have like a particularly long day that's difficult or physically, emotionally, mentally challenging, and I will just take a shot of Bulletproof oil. I still love their coffee. I'll go to their coffee shop, but generally I'm not even gonna make their coffee at home anymore. I'll just take a tablespoon of brain octane to the face. It's efficient, it helps me feel less hungry and more focused, and I mean, it doesn't really taste like anything. It's a little weird taking a whole tablespoon of oil, but hey, I love it. And I also want to experiment with longer fasts. I've heard of 3 to 5 day fasts. I think that would be a really interesting video, and again, challenging for me, which is why I should lean into it. Follow the discomfort. If you push yourself outside the box, your box gets bigger and then everything is comfortable. The longest I've fasted is 60 hours once, and how did I feel? Oh, I worked out at the end of the 60 hours and PR'd my squat. So again, anyone that tells you you need to eat all day, or eat before a workout, or that you'll be tired, or that you need to fuel your body to perform well. Nope. I mean, yes, you need to fuel your body, but it's not like you have to fuel it right before you do the activity. That's what I'm saying. Which again is why I'm skeptical of this gainer shake I'm trying out, because is it really important that within a 30-minute window I fuel my muscles? Is it really even getting through my body and to me that fast? But also they're delicious. But also I should eat whole foods. Look, I'm still working it out. And of course I'm gonna tell you about that because we are chatting at the middle of my journey. I think the best part of all of this is that it's so freeing. I don't have to be so concerned about finding food. And when I'm traveling and then there's nothing at the airport, then have nothing at the airport. You don't have to force yourself to have whatever burger place is open. I know not eating will not ruin my body, and it's not even like I'm hungry. I'll go to lunch meetings and not want to eat. I watch people eat all the time. That sounds weird. It is a little weird socially because a lot of social things are around consuming, and when you're like, I'll just have tea, people might not be okay with that, but you know, I feel better, so I'm sticking to it. And actually, the number one thing that I've noticed with intermittent fasting is that I want to talk about intermittent fasting. So at those lunch meetings, I can be like, yeah, I'm just gonna have tea. Also, I intermittent fast, you wanna talk about it? And then basically, it's the start of this video and I go through the whole thing. And I do keep saying conventional wisdom is wrong a whole lot of times, but this is starting to become conventional wisdom, or at least more people are looking into intermittent fasting. I've seen a lot more, it's a lot more popular. I can talk to more people about, hey, you skip breakfast? And where I am right now is the result of what you just heard, a long journey. And it's very specific to me. I talked through all of the tiny little details of what I'm doing with my body and my workouts and my timing and my thinking and my eating, and that might not be right for you. Like, chances are it's not, because it's a whole lot and very detailed and honed for me. But I do think parts of it might be good for you, so I want you to try it out. If you only get one thing from this video, I hope it's that you're now open to question conventional wisdom and figure out that if something's not working, there are other options. Try them out, experiment. Yes, grandma told you that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but grandma is dumb and making you moody and tired and skinny fat.